Hey everyone, Dave Gandarillas here. Depending on where you are in the world, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Wanted to put together a short video today. It's been a couple days since I put out my last video. It's going to be focused on cryptocurrencies and talking about Bitcoin a little bit, some articles, and just a quick before we get started. As always, you'll see in the on my YouTube channel. You'll see if you click on the show more, various ways you can connect with me. I'm on various social media platforms. Also here is basically quick links to the different opportunities that I'm building teams and generating streams of income. If you wanted to get directly to my portfolio, check out what I'm into and what I'm up to, click here and it'll take you there. Basically, you can come here and take a look at everything I'm doing. I put a little summary of what the opportunity is all about and give you some options to watch a video right here instead of going looking other places. So this is a nice little website that you can also have for yourself. It costs around $10 a month. I believe you get a couple weeks for free to try it out, but it's certainly a good investment if you're serious about your business and you want to really present yourself as being professional and serious. This is one of the greatest investments that you can make for yourself for a mere $10. If you get yourself going and you learn the skill set, you're going to make a heck of a lot more than $10, and this will pay for itself in the long run. Basically, it minimizes all the messages that you would typically have to send somebody, and you could just send them one link and they'll come and take a look at what you're up to. You can, based on how many opportunities you have, you could tell them, hey, take a look at number 1, 5, 3, whatever it may be. And, and then in addition, if you have other ones, of course, the person might decide to look at something else. And then for all you know, they may decide that something else that I have, that you or I have here might be more interesting than what you thought they're interested in. So you never want to prejudge what someone's interested in. You never want to prejudge what their passion is. They got to find something that they like and believe in, or it's going to be very hard for you to be successful, because if you don't believe it and you don't really live it, it's hard. It's very hard, and you're not going to come across as leading with integrity. If you're trying to promote something to somebody else, if you don't really believe in it, it's not really something you should be doing. So make sure you check the opportunities and see which one's for you. So, ask more questions, watch the videos, and decide which one's good for you. So, like I said, a lot of people try to force something down someone's throat. You have a cold lead or you have a warm lead, they reach out to you or they contact you, and then they just have, they just want to, you need to do this one. You don't want to do that. You want to let the person come and check it out at their leisure. Of course, you want to make a point to say, hey, let's follow up together and let's keep the progress going so that the other person doesn't forget about it. And you got to show a little bit of an urgency, that they should really take it serious and look at it, because so many people just say yeah, and then they never do nothing. So you don't want to chase those people. You want to focus on your time with people that really want to do something for themselves. They want to grow themselves. They want to be successful for themselves. It's not what other people are going to do for you. It's what you're going to do for yourself and what you're going to give back to the world, which in turn is going to come back to you. So you got to lead with that kind of mindset. You don't just worry about the commissions and making money today. You give back and you create an audience. You create a following. You create a brand. Create people that know who you are. They like you. They trust you. They trust your judgment. What you're getting involved in. Maybe they don't know nothing about it, but the fact is they trust you. And if you're looking at it seriously and you're getting involved in it seriously, they're going to follow you if they're interested in doing it. So you got to create that relationship with people. Well, more importantly, when you come to my website, my YouTube page here, and you're watching this video, if you like what you see or if you're interested in following me, click on the subscribe button. And then also there's going to be a little bell that you can click on to get notifications. So every time I put out a new video, you'll get an email saying that, hey, I put out this video. So then if it's a topic or the title seems to be something interesting to you, you can come check it out. Also, if you don't mind, if you like it, you like what you see, and you have other people that might benefit from the content that I'm providing, certainly share this. I really appreciate it. I'm trying to build my audience, build my channel, and impact more lives. So I appreciate any sharing and liking and posting of my videos for others to see as well. All right, so with that out of the way, let's close this out. All right, so again, I'm on Facebook. Send me a friend request, send me a message, let me know who you are, what you're up to, and we'll see what where synergies exist, and maybe I can answer some questions on one of the opportunities I have. And like I said, when you come here, you can take a look. These are the ways to contact me. Take a look at all these things at your leisure and decide which one's for you. I go into a lot of detail. There's videos actually linked up in here. There's other videos in here. So just take your time and go through this stuff and make sure you understand it before you get started. And that's the most important thing. I don't want you to get started with something that you don't understand or you thought was something else. So ask any questions after you've done your homework and you come here and you've taken a look at all these videos and everything I have here. If you still have questions, certainly reach out to me and I can clarify or go into more detail about something that you might not understand. All right, so okay, so that's done. Facebook is done. Just wanted to show you. Got a long day today, but I took the time to go out to the yard and spend some time in a hot tub and relax. So you got to do that. You got to work hard, but you got to also treat yourself right and make the time to relax and enjoy yourself as well. Otherwise, it's not worth working so hard if you don't have the time to actually enjoy it. So never forget that. I mean, there's nothing wrong with being a hard worker and putting in crazy hours. But when the time comes, take that time for yourself to reflect, take that time for yourself to refresh, and always reward yourself when goals are hit and things like that, so you have something to look forward to. So you push yourself harder, knowing that if you achieve that goal, you can reward yourself a little bit. So I'm not saying, hey, you earned $10,000 this month, go out and spend $10,000 on something. I'm saying if you earn, you hit a goal that you set for yourself, go out and do something. Go out to dinner. Go out and buy something for $1,000. If you made it $10,000 and you spent $1,000 on yourself, you're still up $9,000. So whatever way you look at it, always reward yourself and always give yourself credit for the progress you've made. Never doubt yourself and just continue down the path. It's going to seem hard. It's going to seem tedious, and it's going to seem like you're putting all this effort in and nothing's happening. But a lot is happening. You're growing yourself. You're changing. You're developing the skills you need. You're developing the mindset you need. There's so many different things you have to work on as an entrepreneur that typical 9-to-5 employee mindsets are ingrained into you, and you got to rewrite that stuff to get yourself out of that mode. All right, so anyway, all right, enough of Facebook. All right, so let's get into Bitcoin. So I kind of erased everything I had here, and what we're really going to do is we're just going to focus on down here. So basically, everyone's calling, the bottom was met, and now it's coming up. So really what you want to focus on, what's happening here. So what we're going to do is a couple things we want to do. All right, so this is an impulsive move. This is what they call a motive wave. So right here, you could start analyzing this as an Elliott wave and then use Fibonacci retracement and Fibonacci extensions to come up with things. So if you bought in here, hey, you're doing great. You're already in. Maybe you sold 50% of your position and you're already in. But if you got, if it went up here and you didn't buy, now what you should be looking for is what is the next opportunity for you to get in on a low risk trade. So a couple things you got to do. You got to figure out where you are. Like if you're an Elliott person and you follow Elliott wave, you got to figure that out. And other things you got to kind of lay out too is resistance levels. So I mean, certainly mark the ones that make the most sense. Things that can be either a floor or a ceiling. So these are different things that you're going to have to keep an eye out for as the price hits it. Either you're going to look for it to bounce off of it, or you're going to look for it to break through, or maybe you decide if it comes up, if you get in somewhere down here, maybe you want to set a sell somewhere before it hits this resistance because maybe you're doubtful that it will break through. So that's the first thing you should do. Figure out the most immediate short-term resistance and ceilings. And if you don't see something here that looks like a solid resistance, then you got to go back in time and look back and see where other things seem to be occurring, right? So then you start picking them out. Like, as you can see, this was a major one, right? That held pretty good. I mean, it bounced 3 times, but it bounced. I mean, there's a little range here. So these lines are not really line-specific prices, but they're really ranges. But I'm keeping it clean on the chart so that it doesn't get too cluttered. So let me get out of this mode and all right. So once you do the resistance levels, the next thing you should consider is coming up with trend lines. So, you know, as you can see, we got this going here. Oh, I'm in the wrong tool. So here, I mean, you know, you could very easily draw something like this, you know, or maybe you take it back a little further and you open it up a little bit this way. You do the same thing for this other way on the ceilings. You want to kind of draw something. So these are going to be points of resistance that, you know, it's going to hit this. It's been following it. It's been bouncing off of it. Maybe you want to go back a little further, like back here. Pull this back here, and you know, just tweak this a little bit to kind of match up to, you know, 2 points. 2 points make a trend, right? 2 points, 2 points. And the more you have, the stronger the resistance is going to be when it approaches it, or the stronger support it's going to be when it hits the bottom side, right? So if you want to go long, if you're a long person, this line right here is going to be a point of, you know, it's going to be hard for the price to break through. So there's going to have to be some momentum and a lot of buying action to break through there. So you want to kind of always keep that in mind too as you're figuring out things. All right, so once you got your resistance lines and your trend lines kind of laid out, you know, doesn't have to be exact, but, you know, kind of get it as close as you can. Then you want to kind of figure out where you are here. So if we're considering this a pivot, the bottom is hit and now it's moving up, we're going to look into possibly an Elliott wave formation here. And then you also could kind of use the pitchfork tool to figure out a channel. So if you come back here and you use the pitchfork tool and you pick, you know, pick the previous low, then you go to a high and then you go to a low. I have to default it back here. Format, original. So you gotta kind of tweak it to see which one plays the most. And there's a lot of information on the internet about pitchfork. So I'm not going to go into details what it is about, but it's basically a Fibonacci-based channel. So each one of these are Fibonacci levels. So this is, you know, this is the median line. This is 0.25. I don't remember actually which numbers that I have here. So you got 0.25, 0.51, and then you can decide, depending on the action of the price, you can add these other ones in if you want, but it gets too cluttered if you put them all in at the same time. But you can see here, so basically the theory says that if it hits this corner pocket, as they call it, and starts moving upward, there's an 80% chance that this price action will hit the median line. Now they don't say how long it's going to take, but as long as it's continuing upward, you know, however long it takes to get upward, there's an 80% chance that you'll hit the median line. Now, if there's a reversal and it starts going down, then that goes away. So then more than likely, if it doesn't hit the median line, then it'll start breaching this outer channel. All right, so this kind of puts in a time perspective for you. So you can kind of see, you know, where it's flowing. You're going to start seeing, you know, the price action. And your goal is to figure out where it's possibly going to hit this median line. And you got to take into account this this resistance level here. So as you're working through this, the next step would be to put on your Elliott hats and try to figure out where you are in terms of the Elliott wave. So if this is a low, now there's a movement upward, and it's a motive wave, you're assuming that this could be a 1-2 move here. So what you want to do next is throw an Elliott count onto this. So what you do is you go from the low to the high to the retracement up to the next high, and then you got to figure out where this 4 is going to be. So for worst case scenario to be considered a true still Elliott wave count of a 5, it can't go any lower than the 1 level. So you temporarily just kind of pick an area over here, and then at least 1 to 1 or so you want to pick another level for this one. So I don't know, you put it somewhere up here. Now what you want to do is so for an Elliott wave to be considered a 1 to a 2, you cannot retrace 100%. So you want to kind of feel out if, for example, if this was a deep retracement, this is probably going to be a short retracement. If this was short, this is probably going to be deep. They typically flip-flop. So there's normally not both two deeps, and if you get into a bull run, you're not gonna get such a deep replacement. Since you missed this trade, now what you're trying to do is see where this 4 could possibly be, so that you can get ready to get in or start laddering your position and start building a position into this long play if it holds. So you certainly don't want to buy in up here because you don't know what's happening yet, right? You don't know if it's just going to tank down, or maybe you'll miss it. Maybe it'll start shooting back up, but maybe you only buy 25% up here. But you don't want to buy everything in one shot, not knowing what's going on. You want to get in on low risk trades. So what you do here is you kind of take a look. You go for Fibonacci. You pick the Fibonacci tool, and you can kind of see how far down this retraced into this first wave from 1 to 2. So if you take it from the low, you go to the high, you can see this, it was pretty strong around the 618, 665, and it kind of held its, like right now, if you actually, right as soon as this hit, you could have put this pitchfork on there, and, this would have been in the future, so you wouldn't have had all this. So you would have been looking to see if it bounced off this edge of this pitchfork and maintained the channel. So if you knew this was a swing high to swing low, you could have put the pitchfork here, and you could have waited for the price action to bounce off this outer boundary to get involved. So if you bought in here, you're doing great, right? You're already in the play. But if you didn't do this and you didn't see this possibility, and maybe you were scared, the market's been so bad over the last couple months, so there's nothing wrong with not taking a trade, right? They basically say any trade is a good trade, and the best trade is one you don't take if you're unsure. So you got to take your emotions out of it, and you just got to wait. You got to set up the trap, and you got to wait for it. So this is what we're doing here. We're setting up a trap for this price action. So right now, so this retrace deep. So this more than likely is going to be a short retracement. So let's remove that. And if you do another retracement from here to here, ironically, look at that. This is like this right here is known to be a very hot algorithm target. Like when price action hits here, there's a lot of bots and a lot of automatic trading systems that start buying positions here. And what they'll do is they'll buy here, and then their target typically is up here. So this is what they're aiming for. This is typically when they start building their position down in here, they're hoping for it to go long, and then they're going to start selling up in here. So what you want to do is if the price action actually holds here, you want to duck in behind that algorithm and get in right when they're getting in and get out like right before they're getting out. So you're going to make a trade, you'll make a trade from here to here. All right, so anyway, you can see, so this was a deep retracement, and this is, we're going to set this up. Worst case, this is the best area to get involved, but more than likely, if it's a strong upward momentum, it may only come down to 38 too. So somewhere in between. All right, let me find my tool here. Oh, here it is. Somewhere in between. You know, really you really want to wait for this. But if if you start seeing it bounce up, there's nothing wrong with buying something a little bit here. Basically, buy some here, buy some here, buy some in here. That's called laddering. So if you're buying 1 Bitcoin, what you should think about doing is maybe buying in 0.2 Bitcoin, 5 times to get an average position, so that when this does turn, you have multiple positions that are going to become positive, and the ones that down here, you're going to get positive faster, and your net cost basis for your position is going to be averaged out, and you're going to be in a good position for when it runs. So you should really wait. You shouldn't get any. This is a very strong market right now for the bulls, so there is a chance that it may not go below 23.6, 23% retracement, but it's a high risk trade. The lower the possibility for this to go lower and lower and start hitting this right here, which ironically, like I was telling you earlier, if we assume that it's going to come down to here, you're betting on this being a good floor. So once this price hits this area, we're hoping that this is going to be a lot of support, so it's not going to go much lower. So if you waited for it to come down to here and you're patient instead of chasing something, you might want to just wait for it to come down to this area. And then what you would do is, once it's in this area, you get your position, use your position tool, and just say you get in somewhere around here. Right? So if you're assuming this is a strong floor and you don't think it's going to breach down, realistically, you can put your stop just below this 6.8, this golden zone here that they call, your stop should be pretty good. So if it goes any lower, really, if it goes any lower than this, so you really could, if you really want to be tight with your stops, you can really come up to here. Okay, let's leave it here for now. But so you're gonna enter somewhere around here, and then you're gonna look, and you're gonna probably be smart not to wait. If depending on how you are, if you're a long-term holder, I would just hold it. But if you're looking to make a trade, the algorithms are going to start selling their positions at 23.6. So you're going to probably want to look back here and see where there's some possible resistance levels. So like right here, somewhere like right here, maybe right here, that's probably about the midpoint. So this could be a possible area for you to sell. So right here, so if you took a trade here and you kind of focused on, so it lines right up very nicely with this. So you might find some more resistance up at this Fibonacci line in this pitchfork. So this might make sense for your target sell. And right there, you would make it's a 4-to-1 ratio, risk to reward, and you would make a 15% profit. And depending on if you have leverage or not, it's even more than that, because you're not using all your money to do the trade. But you can go and make this as tight as you can, and that could be your trade. So maybe maybe that's where it ends up. But to really pick the point where number 5, the end of the Elliott wave could happen, you got to get back into retracement. So let me remove some of this. All right, so that's good. And just remember also, there's going to be a lot of resistance here because of this trend line, because of the resistance over here. You're already seeing it right here, where it's kind of as time goes on and it tries to come back up here, you're going to see there's a lot of wicks right here. So it's going to be more resistance for it to break through. And what we're hoping is that the RSI is, comes down a little bit and it has a chance to move back up to break through this. And then you also have, the triangle, the descending wedge. So 80% in on a triangle typically signals a push up or down. So you put the apex in the middle, and everything's kind of lining up very nicely here. So, the bulls are hoping it goes up. The bears are hoping it's going to go down. So when it hits 4, it's going to be a very, it's a hot box, hot zone. So a lot of things can happen in either direction. All right, so getting back to the target for number 5, you take this from here down to here, and then you kind of I'm pretty close actually. So I mean, it could, if you think it's going to hit the median line, maybe you shift it in here, or maybe it's going to take longer. Maybe it didn't get to the median line. 1618 is a typical, but if you want to be conservative, you could do one to one. So that kind of lines up nice. So I mean, this pitchfork is just kind of giving you time elements here. We don't know how fast it's going to hit 4. I mean, I have it drawn here, but it can happen here, or it can happen all the way over here. You don't know. So you got to kind of see what the previous actions looking, and just maybe make it parallel to this previous one. So you see the price action. Just assume it's going to move the same way up and down symmetrically, and that's an initial point where you can think about that. And then same thing goes for this. If you make this kind of parallel to this one, moved up like this, so there's a chance it could move up again. This is just a target. So, there's nothing. If you're long, there's nothing wrong with this taking longer and longer, because the longer it takes, if you notice, it's ascending. So, price is going to be higher and higher, right? So, don't expect it to happen exactly how you lay it down here. The point is, you're focused on a price range down here, and you're also focused on a price range up here. So that's the whole strategy here, is you're setting up a trap, you're waiting for it to do what it's going to do. So like I said, for all we know, it could take, 3 to 4 is typically a longer path. So, you can't assume it's going to happen totally like that. So it's probably more, drawn out a little bit. So, it could go, well, you know what? With this ETF coming up, I would say that something might happen around the 10th, one way or the other. So that kind of lines you up here with that. And you put that somewhere up there. So this kind of makes sense. This is August 10th. So there might be either it's going to happen faster and there's going to be a buildup of anticipation for the ETF to be approved, or people are going to kind of just sit tight and wait to see what the news is. And there's a high probability that it's going to, the SEC is not going to be ready to make a decision. So if you know anything about that kind of stuff, there's always delays. There's always reasons to take their time to figure stuff out. So many people that just don't understand what crypto is, and they're trying to figure it out. So with that in mind, your idea should be to wait for it to retrace somewhere between 50% off this number. Again, I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just sharing my technical analysis with you of how I think about things. And of course, just it goes by default that you guys got to make your own decisions. You guys are adults, or if you are an adult, you're probably not trading. But in the end, you got to make your own decisions. So what I say is what I say. Take what I say, listen to somebody else, hear what they got to say, get both sides to the story. Try to look in the negative bear side if you're a typical bull, just to make sure that you're not missing something. because if you're biased to be always positive for crypto, you sometimes want to see what you want to see, and you're not really paying attention to what reality is. So there's nothing wrong with viewing both sides of a chart. I tend to personally be bullish on everything, so I have a very hard time finding myself able to get into a short position on Bitcoin. I kind of just wait. I'm probably losing out. I'm losing out on a lot of money because there's a lot of, all this for the last 6 months or whatever it was. You could have been making tons of money on the way down. But I haven't gotten that far in my skill set to take that emotion out of it where I want to, I'm still only looking for it to be positive, and I can't get myself to be short on cryptos. I just can't. So I kind of just sit it out and wait for the moments like this. I got in down here. Maybe I'll get in some more over here, and I play the upside. And I'm a long-term person, so as you notice, I'm looking at the one-day chart. You can certainly drive down into lower time frames, but for me, I don't have the time to look at this continuously all day long. So I'm not saying I don't go to the lower time frames to check out what's happening, but I'm kind of looking at the big picture. I'm looking, month to month, year, long term, bull. So I'm just looking at the bigger picture. All right, so I think that's it for the Bitcoin analysis. It's 31 minutes. I want to just take a few minutes to go over a couple articles I came across over the last couple days that might be of interest to you. I'll put the links in the video description so that you guys can go directly to the link and take a look at the article if you want. But all right, so I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different articles to talk about. I'm going to try and keep them pretty short, try and get this done in 15 minutes, maybe not even be done in 45 minutes so I don't make this video way too long. But all right, so the first one is Price Watch, Bitcoin already hit bottom, Digibyte soars. Yeah, that's been crazy. And ETFs are coming. So coming or not coming, but it's looming. So August 10th, and I'm hearing a date of August 16th as another option. But the SEC, like I said, could extend it for I think up to 90 days. So, everyone's anticipating a decision in August, but it may not happen. But one of the guys from Grayscale was saying that the ETFs could lead to a 6-figure Bitcoin and a 5-figure Ether. That's some amazing moves, right? Also says that it's already hit the bottom. What else? Oh man, this is Digibyte. Look at this craziness. 12 cents. I wonder. I'm not involved in it, but alright, so anyway, yeah. So I wanted to show this to you about the ETFs and some price targets if the things happen. They're talking about a 6-figure Bitcoin and a 5-figure Ether. So, 6-figure, that's what, 1,000 no, 100%? No, more than 100%. I can't even think right now. I think it's like 1,000% increase, 10x. All right, so that's the first one. I'll put this in the video description. You guys can come here and read everything about this. That's just a couple highlights I want to show you guys. All right, so another one that came up is this one. Bitcoin traders join forces to lure big institutional investors. So they're basically saying that there's a lot of institutional investors coming, and regulated crypto asset marketplace for institutional investors. Yeah, there's not much in this one. I don't know why I had this one up, but must have been something in here that I saw that. Yeah, basically they're saying that the SEC had a hard time to approve the ETFs in the past because Bitcoin and Ether were considered securities. Now they've actually restated that and said they're not securities. So it might make the ETF possible this time around. All right, so next one is a big one. So they're basically saying there's trillions of dollars right now related to the gold market, and they're just saying that if they take 10% of the money that's flowing into gold right now, if they flew it into Bitcoin instead, and that would be, I think they were saying, oh, I don't know where it is. Here, 7 trillion outstanding in assets. I can't find it, but I'm gonna put this in the video description. But basically, it's trying to say that even 10% of the money that's in gold, if people shift it over to Bitcoin, it's gonna create, $7 trillion. So $7 trillion could flow into Bitcoin if they just take 10%. I think there's like $70 trillion. Oh, you're pointing inside the gold market, blah, 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 blah. Oh, gotcha, yeah. So it's like 700 million. Right. No, 700 billion. So it's like 7 or 8 times where Bitcoin is now. So if you take the price of Bitcoin at say 7,000, and you multiply it by 7, very easily that's where they're coming up with the $50,000 price target for Bitcoin in the short term. All right. So next one, the BitMEX CEO. I think he's basically saying, maybe the SEC is not going to approve it in August. I don't know. It's just maybe his thoughts were that they won't, and then maybe it'll show some weakness, and maybe Bitcoin will go back down to 5,000. There's so many other people saying that it won't, but he's also saying that 50,000. So it falls right back into the calculation of if it takes 10% of the Bitcoin, takes 10% of the gold money, and gets it realigned with Bitcoin instead, very easily Bitcoin can go to 50,000. So I'll put this in the video description as well. You guys can go take a look at it. And then finally, this one kind of suggests an 8K in reach, and there's like 4 things that are technically affecting that possibility, and it's really, it gets into EMA and 200-day EMA, and so right here, resistance, 100-day EMA, 50% retracement, and pennant support resistance. So you can come here and you can take a look at this, but it's basically saying that is 8K in the range. And if you look here, so if there's algorithms buying at 50% retracement from this current high, so if it comes down here, there's going to be algorithms buying this. So when algorithms buy at the 0.5, they typically target this negative 0.23. So they're looking to sell at this price. And if you look at this price, it's very, very, very close to 8K. I mean, it's $67 above. So somewhere in this range, there's multiple people talking about it possibly hitting, 8K. So maybe wave 5 ends at here. And then you go into an ABC and a reset, and then you go up for the next one. But maybe because everyone's talking about it, and the algorithms are going to buy here and they're going to sell here, so very easily if you want to tuck in, you want to buy when they buy here and get out before they sell here, you make a little bit of money in between. So they're the ones that are driving the market right now. They're all the bots and all the algorithms that are written. I mean, there's no reason why things happen the way they do for a reason. It happens because there's software written to trade on these principles. Fibonacci retracement, Fibonacci targets, pitchforks. All this stuff is built into the algorithms that are trading these assets. All right. So I have 5 articles here that I'll put in the video description. You guys can take a look at them in more detail if you're interested. Otherwise, that's kind of my summary for the week on Bitcoin. We never want to see it retrace, but it's a very, the fact that it moved 1,000 points so quickly, it's very healthy for it to come back down here. It's not going to break as long as it doesn't go below 1 on the first one. It's still an Elliott wave, and the fact that it's coming down, it's going to give this time to relax, and then it's going to give it some more momentum to move back up. So, the goal is to get past 8K, right? Or the initial goal is to get past, at this point, it would be 7.2K. But we got to break this resistance line. And usually it happens within 80% of this. So, somewhere around here, something like that, boom, it shoots out. So it should be a motive wave up to here. So, alright, that's it, guys. It's 40 minutes. I did a little bit better than I thought I would. I didn't go into a lot of details on here because I figure I'll put it in the video description. You guys can come here and whatever one is interesting to you, you can focus on that instead of hearing everything about everything. It's all here. Not my own content. I just wanted to highlight the topics of interest. And like I said, the weekend, hopefully we'll see it rebound a little bit. It was a little weak today. There's a little bit of a divergence in terms of, where are we? In terms of, see how everything is being divergent? So Bitcoin is going up. Everything else is tanking. And basically, I heard someone talk about this on YouTube. Basically, this is a setup that's happened in the past where you see this, it just strengthens the push up from all these altcoins. So this is setting up a rally for the altcoins in the coming days and weeks. So depending on your budget, depending on where you are, depending on what you have, how far in the money you are, if you want to cost average, I strongly suggest to take advantage of these sales and get yourself squared away. But again, I can't tell you what to do. I'm not a financial advisor, but I'm kind of just giving you some insight on what I'm doing and sharing with you and trying to educate you on some possible ideas. And I hope you guys take away some good nuggets from this video and subscribe to my channel and share this. And I look forward to having you as a subscriber, and I will try to put out another video maybe in a couple days. Talk about Bitcoin again, and maybe I'll focus on some of my opportunities and give you some updates. Alright guys, take care and have a great weekend.